The sirens began at dawn. Lily Harper was eating breakfast with her father when the sound cut through the quiet morning. She dropped her spoon and looked at him. Sam Harper stood up slowly, his face turning pale. "Dad?" Lily asked. She was 8 years old, small for her age, with brown hair that fell past her shoulders. "What is that sound?" "Stay here," Sam said. He walked to the window and looked outside. The colony of 7 was waking up to chaos. People ran through the streets. Vehicles flew overhead in every direction. Lily had never seen the adults act this way before. Sam turned on the communication screen. A blue-skinned woman appeared. Lily recognized her as Counselor Myra, the leader of the colony council. "All residents must evacuate immediately," the counselor said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes showed fear. "A has been detected moving toward the central settlement. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." Sam grabbed Lily's hand. "We need to go now." "What is a?" Lily asked as her father pulled her toward the door. Sam did not answer. He was too busy shoving supplies into a bag. Lily had never seen him move so fast. They joined the crowds outside. Thousands of beings filled the streets. Humans and dozens of other species all pushed toward the evacuation ships. Children cried. Adults shouted. The air smelled of fear. Lily held her father's hand tight. She had a gift that no one fully understood. She could feel what other beings felt. Right now, she felt terror from every direction. It pressed against her mind like a weight. "Dad, everyone is so scared," she said. "I know, sweetheart, just keep moving." They passed a group of soldiers. The tall reptilian aliens carried massive weapons and wore heavy armor. Commander stood among them, barking orders. His scales were dark green, and his yellow eyes scanned the horizon. "Hold the line at Sector 7, he commanded. "Nothing gets through." One of his soldiers spoke quietly. "Commander, the last killed 12,000 troops. We only have 300. "Then we will die well," replied. "But we will give the civilians time to escape." Lily heard this and stopped walking. 12,000. What kind of creature could kill 12,000 soldiers? Sam pulled her forward. "Lily, come on." They reached the evacuation center, but the ships were not ready. Engineers ran back and forth, shouting about fuel and engines. Too many people, not enough time. "We need 30 more minutes," someone yelled. "We do not have 30 minutes," another voice answered. Sam found a corner and made Lily sit down. "Stay right here. I need to help with the engines. I will be back soon." "Dad, do not leave me." Sam knelt down and looked into her eyes. "I will always come back for you, always. But those ships need to fly and I can help make that happen. Be brave, okay?" Lily nodded. She watched her father run toward the landing pads. The minutes passed slowly. Lily sat alone, surrounded by frightened strangers. She closed her eyes and tried to block out the emotions pressing against her mind. Then she felt something new. It was far away, but it was powerful. Rage, pain, hunger. But beneath all that, something else. Something old and tired and broken. She opened her eyes. "It is coming," she whispered. No one heard her. The first explosion came from the north, then another, then screaming. The crowd surged toward the ships, but the ships were still not ready. Soldiers rushed past, heading toward the sounds of battle. Lily stood up and looked for her father. She could not see him anywhere. Another explosion, closer this time. The ground shook. Then she saw it. It came through the wall of the northern building like it was made of paper. It was huge, 3 meters tall, covered in black armor that was part of its body. It had 8 legs that moved like liquid. Its mouth was filled with teeth that could bite through metal. One of its eyes was white and blind, covered in scars. The other eye burned with red fire. It was the most terrifying thing Lily had ever seen. Soldiers fired their weapons. Energy beams hit the creature and did nothing. Explosives went off around it and did nothing. It kept coming, killing everything in its path. Lily ran. She pushed through the crowd, calling for her father. "Dad, Dad." The building shook again. Dust fell from the ceiling. People screamed and trampled each other trying to escape. Lily turned down a corridor, away from the crowd. She thought she saw her father ahead. "Dad." The ceiling collapsed. Lily dove forward, barely avoiding the falling metal and stone. When the dust cleared, she found herself alone in a dark corridor. The way back was blocked. "Dad," she called out, her voice echoed. No answer. She walked forward, her small hands touching the walls to guide her. The sounds of battle grew distant. She was deep inside the building now, in a section she did not recognize. Then she felt it again. That presence, rage and pain and something else. That was close, very close. Lily pressed herself against the wall and tried not to breathe. She could hear it now. Heavy footsteps, the scrape of claws on metal, the sound of breathing deep and slow. It was hunting her. She closed her eyes and felt its emotions wash over her. So much anger, so much pain, but also exhaustion. This creature had been fighting for so long, it did not know how to stop. The footsteps grew louder. Lily whispered into the darkness, "Please, please do not find me." The footsteps stopped. Silence. Then a roar that shook the walls, and the creature moved again, heading in a different direction. Lily let out a breath. She was safe for now, but she was alone, lost in a dying building with a monster somewhere nearby. And her father was on the other side of the collapse. She had to find another way out. She had to find her dad. Lily Harper, 8 years old, began walking into the darkness. Sam Harper woke up under a pile of broken metal. His leg was trapped. Pain shot through his body when he tried to move. He pushed against the debris, but it was too heavy. "Lily," he shouted. "Lily, where are you?" No answer came. The explosion had separated them. One moment he was running toward his daughter. The next moment the world turned to fire and noise. Now he lay in the ruins, alone and helpless. He could hear the battle outside, weapons firing, soldiers screaming, the deep roar of the... Sam pulled at his leg again. The metal did not move. He was stuck. "Help," he called out. "Someone please help." Somewhere in the distance, Commander was learning the meaning of fear. The warrior had fought in many battles. He had faced enemies that would make most beings run away crying, but he had never faced anything like this. The tore through his soldiers like they were nothing. Energy weapons left burns on its black armor, but the creature did not slow down. Explosives knocked it back a few steps, but it always got up again. Watched as 3 of his best warriors attacked together. The beast grabbed one with its massive jaws and threw him into the others. All 3 went down. They did not get up. "Fall back," ordered. "Fall back to the second line." They had prepared 3 defensive lines. The first line had lasted 4 minutes. The second line lasted 2. Now they were at the third and final line, and there was still coming. A soldier ran up too. "Commander, we have lost contact with the evacuation center. The creature changed direction. It is heading into the central complex." Felt his blood turn cold. The central complex was where the civilians were hiding, where the children were. "How many ships got away?" he asked. 3, maybe 4. "Out of 20 ships, 3 or 4. "Send all remaining units to the central complex," said. "We make our stand there." Deep inside the building, Lily Harper walked through dark corridors. She moved slowly, listening for any sound. There was somewhere in this building. She could feel its presence like a dark cloud in her mind. But she also felt something else from it, something she did not expect. The creature was in pain, not just physical pain from the battle. There was something deeper, an old wound that had never healed, a sadness that had turned into rage over many, many years. Lily did not understand it. Everyone said we're killing machines. They said the creatures felt nothing but the need to destroy, but that was not what she felt from this one. She found a door and pushed it open. Inside was a small storage room. She could hide here. She crawled behind some boxes and made herself as small as possible. Her heart was beating so fast. "Dad will find me," she whispered to herself. "He promised he would come back." Far above, in orbit around the planet, Counselor Myra made a terrible decision. She stood on the bridge of the Coalition ship, watching the battle on the screens below. The had killed over 200 soldiers. It had destroyed 4 buildings, and it showed no signs of stopping. "Counselor," her assistant said, "Commander reports that evacuation has failed. Most civilians are still in the central complex." Myra closed her eyes. She had hoped it would not come to this. "Contact the orbital weapons platform," she said. "Authorization code 77 read." Her assistant turned pale. "Counselor, you cannot mean to. If that creature reaches the spaceport, it will get on a ship. It will spread to other worlds. Millions will die instead of thousands." Myra's voice was steady, but her hands were shaking. "Prepare the orbital strike." "But the civilians." "I know." Myra looked at the screen showing the central complex. Somewhere down there, children were hiding. Families were praying for rescue. "I know what I am doing, and I will carry this weight for the rest of my life." The weapons platform began charging. The strike would be ready in 20 minutes. In the storage room, Lily heard footsteps. Heavy footsteps, the scrape of claws, the creature's breathing. It had found her. She pressed her hand over her mouth to stop herself from screaming. The footsteps came closer, closer. Then they stopped right outside her door. Lily could feel this presence like a fire burning just inches away. Its rage was so strong it made her head hurt. But underneath that rage, she felt the other things again. Tiredness, confusion, pain that went back centuries. This creature was 400 years old. It had been made by the Empire to be a weapon. For 400 years, it had known nothing but war and killing and violence. It had never known peace. It had never known kindness. It had never known rest. Lily found herself feeling something she did not expect. She felt sorry for it. The door began to bend. The creature was pushing against it. Lily closed her eyes and reached out with her gift. She did not know if it would work. She had never tried to touch a mind this broken, this full of rage. But she tried anyway. She sent out a feeling, not words, just a feeling, peace, calm, safety. The pushing stopped. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the creature roared. The sound was so loud it shook the walls. Lily covered her ears. But the roar was different this time. It was not just anger. There was something else in it, something like confusion, something like fear. The footsteps moved away. Lily sat in the darkness, breathing hard. She had touched its mind, just for a second. And in that second she had felt everything it was. There was not just a monster. It was a prisoner of its own programming, its own nature. It had been made to kill, and it did not know how to be anything else. But somewhere deep inside, a tiny part of it wanted to stop. "It is tired," Lily whispered. "It just wants to rest." Above the planet, the orbital weapon finished charging. "Strike ready," the weapons officer reported, awaiting final authorization. Counselor Myra looked at the screen one last time. Then she spoke the words that would kill everyone still trapped below. "Fire on my mark. Countdown begins now, 20 seconds. The weapon aimed at the central complex. Lily did not know that death was coming from the sky. She only knew that somewhere out there, her father was trapped. And somewhere in this building, a monster was fighting against itself. She stood up. She was not going to hide anymore. She was going to find the creature, and she was going to try something no one had ever tried before. She was going to talk to it. Lily stepped out of the storage room. The corridor was dark and filled with dust. Emergency lights flickered red every few seconds. She could hear the distant sounds of battle, but here, everything was quiet. She reached out with her gift, searching for the creature. It was close. She could feel its pain like heat from a fire. She walked forward. Her footsteps echoed in the empty hallway. She was small and alone, an 8-year-old girl walking toward the most dangerous creature in the galaxy. Every part of her mind screamed at her to run, but she kept walking. The presence grew stronger. The rage pressed against her thoughts, but she pushed back with her own feelings. Calm, peace. I am not here to hurt you. She turned a corner and stopped. The stood at the end of the corridor. It was even more terrifying up close. Its body was covered in black armor that looked like it had grown from its skin. Scars covered every inch of it, old wounds from centuries of battle. Its 8 legs were thick with muscle. Its claws left marks in the metal floor. One eye was white and blind, destroyed long ago. The other eye burned with red light. It fixed on Lily. The creature did not move. It watched her with that single burning eye. Lily's legs were shaking. Her heart was beating so hard she thought it might break, but she did not run. "Hello," she said. Her voice was small and weak. The sound made the walls shake. Lily took another step forward. "I know you can understand me. Maybe not my words, but you can feel what I feel. I know you can." The creature's growl grew louder. Its muscles tensed. It was going to attack. But Lily did not stop. She took another step, and another. "You are tired," she said. "I can feel it. You have been fighting for so long, you do not even remember why anymore." They opened its massive jaws. Rows of teeth, each one longer than Lily's hand, glistened in the red light. "They made you this way," Lily continued. They took you and they changed you and they made you into a weapon. You never asked for this." The creature roared. The force of it nearly knocked Lily off her feet, but she stood her ground. "I know you are in pain," she said, her voice shaking but clear. "I know you want it to stop. You want all of it to stop." The lunged. Lily did not move. She closed her eyes and waited for death. But death did not come. She opened her eyes. The creature had stopped, its face inches from hers. Its breath was hot against her skin. Its teeth could close around her head with one bite. But it did not bite. Its red eye stared at her, and in that eye Lily saw something she had not seen before, confusion and something else, something like hope. "Enough," Lily whispered. The word hung in the air between them. "You have fought enough, you have hurt enough, you have been hurt enough." Tears ran down Lily's cheeks. "It is time to stop now, please just stop." They made a sound. It was not a roar. It was not a growl. It was something Lily had never heard before. A sound of pain and release, of centuries of suffering finally being heard. The creature's legs began to fold. Slowly, it lowered itself to the ground. Its massive body settled onto the floor like a mountain coming to rest. It lay its head down, just a few feet from where Lily stood. She reached out her hand. Her small fingers touched the surface of its snout. The creature flinched but did not pull away. "It is okay," Lily said softly. "You do not have to fight anymore. No one is going to hurt you. I will not let them." It closed its eye. For the first time in 400 years, it rested. Above the planet, Counselor Myra was 5 seconds from firing. 4 seconds, the weapons officer counted. 3, 2. "Wait," Myra said suddenly. She was staring at a small screen showing a camera feed from inside the building. "What is that?" The image was grainy and flickered with static, but she could see it clearly. A small human child standing next to touching it, and the creature was lying down. "That is impossible," her assistant whispered. "Hold fire," Myra commanded. "Hold fire now." "Counselor, the weapon is all ready." "I said hold fire." The weapons officer's hands flew across the controls. The countdown stopped at 1 second. Myra stared at the screen. The child was still touching the beast. The beast was still lying peacefully. "Get me Commander," she said. "Now." In the corridor below, Lily sat down next to the creature's head. She kept her hand on its snout, feeling the rough texture of its scars. "How long have you been fighting?" she asked softly. "Do you even remember who you were before?" The creature made a low sound, almost like a sigh. "My mom used to tell me a story," Lily continued. "She said that even the worst storms end eventually. The sky gets tired of being angry, and then the sun comes out again." She wiped her eyes. "Maybe you are like that. Maybe you were just a storm that needed to end." He opened its eye and looked at her. The red glow was dimmer now. The rage was fading. Then Lily heard footsteps, many footsteps running. Soldiers burst into the corridor. Commander was in front, his weapon raised. Behind him were 20 warriors, all pointing their guns at the creature. "Step away from it," shouted, "now." Lily did not move. "No. Child, that thing has killed hundreds of people today. It is a monster. Step away so we can finish this." Lily stood up and spread her arms wide, putting herself between the soldiers and the creature. "It stopped," she said. "It chose to stop. You cannot kill it now." "It does not choose anything," growled. "It is a weapon. It does what it was made to do." "Then why is it lying down?" Lily asked. "Why did it not kill me? I was right there. It could have eaten me in one bite, but it did not." Hesitated, he looked at It had not moved since the soldiers arrived. It just lay there, watching them with its single dim eye. "This changes nothing," said, but his voice was less certain now. "It changes everything," Lily replied. "Everyone said this creature could not stop. Everyone said it could not be reached, but I reached it. It listened to me. It chose peace." She looked at the soldiers, at their weapons, at their fear. "If you kill it now, you kill the only in history that chose to stop fighting. Is that what you want? To destroy something amazing just because you are afraid?" The soldiers did not lower their weapons, but they did not fire either. They all stood there in silence, waiting to see what would happen next. Commander kept his weapon aimed at the creature's head. "Move aside, child," he said again. "I will not ask you again." Lily shook her head. "I will not let you kill it. You do not understand what that thing is. I have studied my entire career. They were built to destroy. They feel nothing. They care about nothing. They cannot be tamed or reasoned with." "Then explain what is happening right now," Lily said. "Explain why it is lying down. Explain why it let me touch it." Had no answer. He stared at the creature, trying to understand what he was seeing. In all the records, in all the histories, no had ever stopped fighting. They attacked until they were killed. That was their nature. But this one was different. His communication device crackled. Counselor Myra's voice came through. "Commander, what is your status?" "We have found, though," reported. "It is not attacking. I can see that from the camera feed. I need to know if it is safe to cancel the orbital strike permanently." Looked at the creature. It had not moved. Its eye was still dim, almost peaceful. The killing rage that had driven it through the colony was gone. "I do not know," he admitted. "This has never happened before." There was silence on the line. Then Myra spoke again. "The strike is on permanent hold, but if that creature shows any sign of aggression, you are authorized to do whatever is necessary." "Understood." Lowered his weapon slightly. His soldiers followed his lead, but they stayed ready. Lily let out a breath she did not know she was holding. "Thank you." "Do not thank me yet," said. "This is far from over." At that moment, a rescue team pushed through the debris behind the soldiers. And with them, limping on a badly injured leg, was Sam Harper. "Lily," he shouted. "Dad." Sam pushed past the soldiers and grabbed his daughter, pulling her into a tight hug. He looked at the lying just a few feet away and his face went white. What happened here?" "She stopped it," one of the soldiers said, his voice filled with disbelief. "She just walked up to it and talked to it, and it stopped." Sam held Lily at arm's length and looked into her eyes. You did what? It was hurting, Dad. I could feel it. It did not want to fight anymore. It just needed someone to tell it that it could stop. Sam looked at the creature again. Its eye watched them, but there was no threat in its gaze. It seemed almost curious. That is the most insane thing I have ever heard, Sam said. Then he pulled Lily close again. And the bravest. Over the next hour, more people arrived. Scientists, soldiers, council members. They all came to see the impossible sight of it at rest. Dr. Grant, a human, ran scans on the creature. Her hands trembled as she worked. Its brain activity is completely different from any on record, she reported. The aggression centers are almost dormant. It is like a machine that has been switched off. Can it switch back on? Asked. I do not know. They designed these creatures to be uncontrollable. They built rage into their basic programming, but this one, she shook her head. This one is rewriting itself. I have never seen anything like it. Counselor Myra arrived via transport shuttle. She walked into the corridor and stopped when she saw the creature. Even lying down, it was massive, terrifying, and completely calm. She approached Lily, who still sat near the creature's head. You are the child who stopped it, Myra said. Yes, ma'am. Myra knelt down to meet Lily's eyes. How did you know? How did you know it would listen? Lily thought about the question. I did not know, but I felt what it was feeling, all that anger and pain, and I knew that underneath all of it there was something else, something that just wanted peace. She looked at the creature. Everyone needs someone to tell them that the fighting can stop, even monsters. Myra stood up slowly. She had ordered the deaths of thousands of beings in her career. She had made hard choices for the greater good. But standing here now, looking at this child and this creature, she felt something she had not felt in years. Hope. What do we do with it? Asked. We cannot just let it go. No, Myra agreed, but we cannot kill it either, not after this. It murdered hundreds of people today. I know, and we will have to answer for that. There will be a tribunal, questions, investigations. Myra looked at but right now we have something that has never existed before, that chose peace, that matters. Sam stepped forward. With respect, counselor, my daughter is not going to spend her life as some kind of monster handler. She is 8 years old. I understand, Mr. Harper. We will bring in specialists, create containment protocols. Your daughter will not be asked to do anything she does not want to do. Lily looked at her father. Dad, I want to help it. Lily. It is alone. It has been alone for 400 years. Everyone it ever knew is dead. The people who made it are gone. It has nobody. Her eyes were serious, too old for her young face. I know what that feels like. After Mom died, I felt alone too. You helped me through it. Maybe I can help it. Sam closed his eyes. His daughter had a gift he did not fully understand. She saw things, felt things that others could not. And right now, she saw something worth saving in a creature that had killed thousands. Okay, he said finally, we will figure this out together. They made a sound, low and soft, almost like a sigh of relief. Lily reached out and touched its snout again. See, you are not alone anymore. Watched this exchange with a mixture of amazement and unease. Everything he knew, everything he had trained for told him this was wrong. Were enemies. They were threats to be eliminated. But looking at the creature now, looking at how it responded to this human child, he could not deny what he was seeing. Commander, one of his soldiers said quietly, what are your orders? Was silent for a long moment. Then he holstered his weapon. Stand down, he said. Full security presence, but weapons cold. If it makes any threatening moves, we respond. But until then, we watch and wait. The soldiers lowered their weapons. The tension in the corridor eased slightly. It was not over. There would be hard times ahead, difficult decisions, angry people demanding justice for the dead. But for now, in this moment, something new had begun. A monster had chosen peace. And a child had shown them all what that meant. 3 weeks after the attack, the coalition held a tribunal. The courtroom was packed. Representatives from 12 different species filled the seats. Camera drones floated overhead, broadcasting the hearing across the galaxy. Everyone wanted to see what would happen to the creature that had killed so many. It was contained in a massive holding cell beneath the courtroom. Screens showed its image to the gathered crowd. It sat quietly, watching the cameras with its single eye. Lily Harper sat in the witness section with her father. She wore her best clothes and had brushed her hair carefully. She knew this day was important. The head judge, an elderly named counselor, called the hearing to order. "We are here to decide the fate of the designated Unit 7, he announced. "This creature has been responsible for the deaths of 347 colonists on 7. By all established laws, the sentence would be immediate termination." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. "However," continued, "unusual circumstances have been brought to our attention. For the first time in recorded history, has stopped its attack of its own will. This tribunal must decide whether that fact changes anything." The first witnesses were survivors of the attack. They spoke of horror, of loss, of watching friends and family die. Their pain filled the courtroom. Lily felt it pressing against her mind, and she had to close her eyes to block it out. Then Commander took the stand. "I have fought many enemies," said. "I have seen creatures do terrible things, but I have never seen what I saw in that corridor. Had the child in front of it, it could have killed her instantly. Instead, it lay down. It chose peace." "Do you believe it can be trusted?" asked. Hesitated. "I believe it chose not to kill when killing would have been easy. I do not know what that means, but I know it means something." Next, Dr. Grant presented her research. "The creature's neural patterns have changed significantly since its capture," she explained, showing brain scans on a large screen. "The aggression centers that were constantly active before are now mostly dormant. It is as if the programming that drove it to violence has been." "By what?" asked. "We do not know, but the change began at the exact moment the child made contact with it. Her emotional projections somehow reached past the conditioning and connected with whatever natural mind the creature still had." "Is this permanent?" "Again, we do not know. But in 3 weeks of observation, the creature has shown no signs of returning aggression. It responds to the child's presence with what I can only describe as calm." Finally, Lily was called to the stand. She walked to the witness seat, her small feet barely reaching the floor. The counselors looked at her with curiosity and doubt. "Miss Harper," said gently, "can you tell us what happened that day?" Lily told her story simply. She talked about feeling the creature's emotions, about the rage and the pain and the buried sadness. She explained how she had walked up to it and spoken to it, and how it had listened. "Why did you not run away?" asked. "Because running would not have helped, and because I knew it was hurting. I thought maybe if someone was kind to it, even for a second, things might be different." "You risked your life on that thought?" "Yes." Leaned forward. "Miss Harper, this creature killed hundreds of people. Do you believe it deserves to live?" Lily was quiet for a moment, then she spoke. "When they made it, they did not ask what it wanted. They just changed it and used it. For 400 years it did what they made it do. It did not have a choice." She looked directly at the counselor. "Now it has a choice, and it chose to stop. If we kill it for what it was made to do, before we give it a chance to be something else, then we are no better than the people who created it." The courtroom was silent. Sat back. "Does anyone else wish to speak?" Sam Harper stood up. "I do." He walked to the front of the room. His leg was still healing, and he moved with a limp. "My daughter almost died because of that creature," he said. "I should want it dead more than anyone, but humans have a saying. We say that the measure of a person is not how they treat the powerful, but how they treat the broken." He looked at the screens showing the That creature is broken. It has been broken for 400 years. My daughter saw past the monster to the broken thing underneath, and she showed it kindness. I think we should do the same." The tribunal deliberated for 6 hours. When they returned, Counselor read the verdict. This tribunal finds that the designated Unit 7 cannot be held fully responsible for actions taken under conditioning. However, the deaths of 347 beings cannot be ignored. Therefore, we order the following. The creature will be placed in secure containment and studied. If it shows any return of aggressive behavior, it will be terminated immediately. If it continues on its current path, its status will be reviewed in 1 year. He paused. Additionally, the human child Lily Harper will be given access to the creature under strict supervision, as she appears to have a unique ability to communicate with it. Lily let out a breath. The creature would live, at least for now. Over the following months, Lily visited the every week. She sat with it, talked to it, and tried to understand it. Slowly, the creature began to change even more. Its movements became gentler. The glow in its eye softened. When Lily entered its enclosure, it would lower its head to greet her. The scientists were amazed. They documented everything, trying to understand how a creature designed for destruction could transform so completely. One day, Dr. Grant asked Lily a question that many people had wondered about. "How did you know it would listen to you? Everyone else saw a monster. You saw something different." Lily thought about it. She remembered that moment in the corridor, standing in front of those teeth, feeling the creature's pain. "Everyone wants someone to tell them the fighting can stop," she said. "Even monsters, especially monsters." Grant wrote the words down carefully. A year later, the tribunal reviewed the case. The had shown no aggression in 12 months. Its neural patterns had continued to heal. It responded to Lily and, increasingly, to other handlers as well. The tribunal voted to keep it alive and to continue studying it. More importantly, they approved a new initiative to search for others surviving. If one could be saved, perhaps others could too. On the day of the decision, Lily sat in the creature's enclosure. It lay beside her, enormous and peaceful. She ran her hand along its snout, feeling the rough texture of its old wounds. "You did it," she said softly. "You showed them what you could be." They made a low sound, almost like a purr. Sam watched from behind the observation glass. His daughter had changed things, not with weapons or armies or force, with one word spoken in the right moment. The galaxy had created countless ways to destroy: armies, fleets, orbital cannons, nuclear fire. In the end, what saved one was not a weapon at all. It was an 8-year-old girl who looked at a monster and saw something worth saving. And a single word that no one had ever thought to say. "Enough."